Good morning. It is a pleasure to welcome you, Andreas. Andreas Hamprecht is the Chief Information Officer and Chief Digital Officer with Deutsche Bahn Regio. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Andreas, a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine, Michaela.
You bring a wealth of experience. Could you just talk us through your position and where you stand as regards cybersecurity and information technology?
Yes, sure. Well, I'm working for 25 years now in the context of railways. I've been 3 years consultant for Deutsche Bahn as a civil engineer. Then I had various consulting and later executive functions within Deutsche Bahn in long distance passenger and short distance passenger in infrastructure. And currently I'm assigned CEO and CDO of Deutsche Bahn Regio. We are roughly 10 billion euro company and providing all commuter services in Germany. So mass rapid transport and regional transportation. In my current role, I'm responsible for, let's say, the digital roadmap on the one hand side. So that's more the strategic part of my current assignment. And then there's a rather operational part that is kind of maintaining the existing IT and also further developing the existing IT. And I mean, the more we are talking about IT and digitalization, the more we have to make sure that we are not eaten up by cyber issues. Yeah, so that's always kind of keeping pace with what's happening around us.
In your talk title, you refer to small states. Could you elaborate on the specific challenges faced by small states in achieving cyber resilience?
Yeah, so that is of course used as a kind of a synonym. We have had in Germany a situation in the, let's say, 14th and 15th century that there was not one Germany, but there was like 100 small states, and they were very weak. Everybody in its own. They have different measurements for lengths, for time zones, even, and for and different legal systems. So in that environment, it's very hard to build up a resilience because you're getting kind of a pinball for stronger aggressors. And that's a bit the situation where we are in rail. You have up to date, not really end-to-end concepts and end-to-end regulations concerning cyber resilience, and that makes us hard to kind of enforce or ensure when purchasing trains and having contractual relations which consider from all contractual parties like end-to-end resilience.
And from a regulatory perspective, in your opinion, what are the key factors contributing to the success of cybersecurity guidelines at a European level? Yeah,
here it is all about the right, let's say, granularity. So we will need, we have in specific industries like banking, we have quite detailed regulations and a close-knit network of regulations and tools, and that's what we need in asset intensive industries like rail as well. So we should not be too specific on all the details because technology is evolving too fast and regulation is always a bit slower, but we shouldn't be as broad as, let's say, an ISO 27001. That's not specific enough for rail.
And then for companies that are operating on a budget, could you share some strategies for ensuring that cyber resilience is cost effective? Because of course the technology is evolving all the time and the requirements, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah. So for us, it is very important to address some core functions on corporate level. So not to let everybody in smaller structures define its own goals and measures and tools. So in Deutsche Bahn, we have one incident and response team really on the corporate level. They are highly skilled experts and doing a great job. In my division, I have experts mainly coming from the banking sector. So they have done cyber in a very hands-on manner, and they know the regulation, but also know the specific measures to achieve cyber resilience. And here we need a very hands-on approach. Otherwise, we are kind of creating too much paperwork and too much non-value creating tasks. Yeah, and so the mixture of knowing the regulation very well, but also knowing very detailed where there are potential threats and vulnerabilities that makes us cost effective in that field.
And what are some key lessons learned from past cybersecurity breaches in the European mobility environment specifically, and how have they influenced your current cyber resilience strategies?
Yeah, I mean, so far our physical assets have not been very connected. Yeah, so the cyber issue was not that high on the agenda concerning the OT security. That is rising constantly because interconnectivity is rising, and because there are very interesting commercial use cases when you can kind of monitor your physical assets online, or you can steal them even online. But at the same time, you're opening up new vectors of aggression and vulnerabilities potentially. And then we have slightly changing the same environment. Some years ago, if some terrorist attacks wanted to create damage, there may be more conventional measures like bombs and hijacking were the means to deal in transportation, but that is changing. So we see potential threats and aggressions increasingly, and yeah, some of them unfortunately were successful. So we saw trains standing, for instance, in Denmark for a whole day, or even in Poland we saw trains couldn't leave the depots. That was sometimes a criminal attack, sometimes simple mistakes. But from that we learned that we have to put much more emphasis on that subject, and that we have really to join forces on a European level.
Absolutely. Are there any particular technologies that you think will play a significant role in enhancing cyber resilience in the future?
Well, the technology as such is kind of evolving month by month. But the most important is to have a kind of holistic approach and an end-to-end approach towards cyber resilience. So the first is, of course, knowing what assets you have and kind of automated update your asset data base and your asset management. And then, of course, you need efficient measures for education of the staff, increase sensibility of the people involved towards cyber resilience. And then, of course, you need fast kind of segmentations and potentially zero trust structures, where if some damage occurs, it can be at least kept on a very local perimeter, and not kind of to infect the whole system. Yeah, and maybe last but not least, of course, the kind of business continuity is required to, in case of successful attacks, that you at least can keep up the business, and also keep up safety and security of all passengers.
Fantastic, Andreas. That was fascinating insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michaela.